This evening I'm going to discuss power. I was going to do this on test bench number 3, but the sun was on the digital displays. It makes it a bit easier to read. So we're going to be using test bench 1, which is the one we normally use. Having to use a handheld camcorder. I've got a Intek M100 Plus connected up to the test set, and if we key up, it's just a fraction under the 4 watts. So second scale down, there's the 5, it's just to the left of that. And that is that's fair enough, and that's because I've got another power meter here in between. This is what we use on VHF when when we need to do SWR on cars. Watson W220 goes up to 200 megs, and at the moment I've got this set up on the 20 watt range because I couldn't believe what it said. Now I'll key up on this meter, and that says that this radio is doing 6.5 watts. But the calibrated meter, and this test instrument is in calibrators, so it's just under 4. It is 4, but there's a little loss I've introduced because of this extra meter. Back to the Watson meter, and these are the kind of things that are 59 quid, so they're not dead cheap. It says we're doing 6 watts. If I just change scales, go to the 5 watt scale, just check calibrate. I'll just have to adjust that. There we go. So that's set calibrate. Forward power. Off the scale. As I said, this meter says it's just over 6 watts. So that's quite a big discrepancy, and this is supposedly a reasonable quality instrument. So now this Veltz meter of mine, which is has seen better days, but I've had it since the 80s, and it's badged as RS components and was no doubt top whack at about 130 quid. This isn't so bad, and again this is one we would use on, it goes up to VHF, and so we would use this on PMR installations. Now if I press the calibrate switch, you notice it's lost its knob for SWR, like it really matters. That's set, and if we check power now, we're on the 20 watt range, and you see that's 4.5. The calibrated meter up there is still just under the 5. And this Veltz meter has got an average setting, so it can be used with SSB for power readings, which are useful, like our Schlumberger test set has as well. Talking of test sets, we'll just go into the other room we use for tests. And there's a couple of power meters. They're both trough line type, and they both have outlandish idea as to what real power is. And that's the test set number 3 which we have, the Farnell one. This has a digital power meter which is just there. Oh, it's in hyperspace at the moment, I see. Very easy to use this test set. It's the quickest test set we've got, and the Synad meter on it is by far the best. And we'll show you that in operation come October, when this test instrument finds its way into the other room, along with the Schlumberger one. Sitting on the floor with no home to go to at the moment, because it's going to be test set number 4. This is the Quartz-Lark 282A, which unfortunately doesn't go under 70 megs on receive, but it does on transmit. So if we need to use that with CB at any point, we'd have to use it with a different signal generator. But normally we use this one on PMR, and it's kind of the one I take out on jobs, which is why it isn't set on a bench. And that's the Schlumberger Stabilock 4040, which does SSB. And at the moment, unfortunately, this has got a power supply fault, so this is something else we're getting sorted out very shortly. What I was hoping to do, and I haven't been able to, is I was going to find the Zetagi power meter we've got, which is just so hopelessly at least double, if not more, what true watts are. It's unbelievable. But unfortunately, I don't know where I've put that, and there's a lot of things in boxes as we've packed things away to come into this room, which I'm now back in, So having a big revamping over this period. And it struck me, you know, Zetagi make illegal linear amplifiers, and it just struck me that if they make power meters that read twice what they really are, it'll make their amplifiers look like they work better than they really do. So I can think that's what it's all about. And so this is what I'm on about when I talk about good buddy watts. So I showed you the Wilson meter, which is half decent, but it's wildly out. This Veltz meter in front of us isn't far out at all, that you could trust that. The test set I've shown you is calibrated, that's in calibration. The Farnell test set I showed you isn't in calibration, but it isn't out on either, you know, because I do check it against other instruments. And had we put the radio into there, it would have said 3.9 watts, toggling 4, something like that. So, and the same happens with that quartz lock test set that we have. So this is it, and I'm always worried that people take some of these relatively cheap instruments for gospel. At the end of the day, the Bird 43 is the industry standard. And I don't have a Bird 43, but it is the industry standard. And if that says so many watts, then that's the truth. And what more can one say? You know, Bird 43, if you want a power meter, that's what you get.